Good morning. And welcome to the 2024 academic year convocation ceremony of the University of Massachusetts, Boston. My name is Joseph Berger, and I am the Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. While the start of every academic year is always exhilarating for me and for all of you, this year is particularly so, as I welcome you to a campus, this campus, that is both renewed and in some ways very literally new. Guided by our strategic plan for the times and through our shared mission-focused initiatives, I am excited that this year will bring a further renewed sense of clarity and purpose to our critically important work as a university as we continue to stand proudly with and for the communities we serve. And while I am energized at the prospect of welcoming you to a campus that is renewed and more aligned in spirit than ever before, I am delighted to be welcoming you to what is without a doubt, physically and aesthetically, a very new campus to us all. With the opening of our new quad, our very literal campus core, we begin the new year celebrating this space of beauty, which in my mind is much more than a space, but an essential embodiment of what we as a university have to offer, an opportunity to come together, a point of pride, and most importantly, a sense of place and belonging for all. This is clearly a pivotal moment in our history as a global society, but it is also a truly significant chapter for UMass Boston. Moving into the future with a renewed dedication to holistic student success, impactful research, and all the ambitious priorities illuminated by our strategic plan. As a university, we exist for our students, and improving student success is priority number one. This requires an all-hands-on-deck approach as we increase successful pathways to and through UMass Boston so that students can fully realize their talents, hopes, ambitions, and dreams as the future citizens and leaders of local, regional, national, and global communities. As a research university, Boston's only public research university, the rigorous knowledge we produce makes a difference in the world. And as articulated in our strategic planning endeavors, our efforts are anchored by four grand scholarly challenges: climate equity in urban coastal areas, bridging divides in health equity, education for the future, advancing a just society, local and global dimensions. In addition to our teaching and research mission, we are specifically for the city. While our endeavors are impactful locally and globally, we must never forget that we are place-based on this harbor, on this Columbia Point, and in Dorchester, in the heart of this great city of Boston. Even as we develop knowledge, proof points, and models that inform and impact the broader and rapidly changing world around us, our integrity as a university requires that we ensure the primacy of our commitment to deep and local engagement. With these priorities in mind, and with the celebratory spirit of the new academic year upon us, this morning I have the privilege and honor to honor our own UMass Boston colleagues. It gives me immense pleasure to congratulate 32 of our faculty colleagues who have been recognized with promotions for the quality of their research, the impact of their teaching, and the value of their service. This includes 11 faculty members who received tenure and were promoted to associate professor. 12 colleagues who were promoted to the rank of full professor. 18 faculty members who were promoted in the senior lecturer rank. And 5 librarians who were promoted. I ask all of you who are here this morning to rise so that we can applaud you collectively for your accomplishments. So congratulations to you all. We are also pleased to welcome 32 new tenure-track faculty colleagues recruited to the campus this academic year through national searches. I ask that all of you rise so that we can recognize and welcome you to our campus. Your names are also listed on the screens. Please rise. Again, welcome to you all. Importantly, I also want to offer special recognition of the members of our teaching faculty, those colleagues in the ranks of lecturer, senior lecturer, and associate lecturer who do so much to enhance the educational experience of our students and contribute to the scholarly portfolio of the university. I would like to ask that all members of the non-tenure track faculty, whether new or continuing, to stand and be recognized. Ensuring that the university builds intellectual strength every year is an important mission. There is no better way to reach that goal than to continue to support and build the core strength of you, our faculty. A genuine thank you to you for all that you do with and for the university. And now I have the great pleasure of introducing our Chancellor, Marcelo Suarez Orozco.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you, Provost Berger, and good morning, Beacons. I am delighted to welcome new and returning students, faculty, administrators, and staff to the 2024-2025 academic year at UMass Boston. To our new arrivals, you have come to a very, very special place. UMass Boston has long educated students who go on to live purposeful lives and become leaders in their communities. But first, following the tradition of our convocations past, I like to begin by recognizing the winner of the 2024 John W. Ryan Award, an honor bestowed annually on the junior with the highest GPA. Named for the first chancellor of our university, the Ryan Award commemorates our first convocation and celebrates academic excellence in our extraordinary student body. I am thrilled to announce the winner of the 2024 John W. Ryan Award, Hei-Wen Tan. Hei-Wen, please join me. Stay here for a minute. Stay here for a minute. One of her instructors had this to say about Hei-Wen. Quote, "She is an outstanding artist. Her paintings, which blend surrealism, pop culture, and abstraction, are joyous and funny. In all of my courses with Hei-Wen, she has shown a seriousness of purpose and a playful experimental approach to her work. This honor is well deserved." End of quote. Congratulations, Hei-Wen. Well done. Wonderful. Now, before I introduce our Convocation speaker, CEO, entrepreneur, and life sciences innovator, Dr. Avak Kahvejian, I'd like to offer a few reflections on a defining issue of our times, artificial intelligence and higher education. When Dr. Kahvejian presented at the From Climate Crisis to Climate Resilience Global Summit in Rome last spring, he talked about how artificial intelligence has amplified translational science and accelerated the development of biomedicines that saves lives and prepare us for the health consequences of climate change. To be sure, the rise of AI is the story of our times. And certainly, AI is doing wondrous things. In the battle against climate change, for example, it has given us new powerful tools like autonomous energy and water grids, climate models, improved climate models, and data dashboards that can track deforestation and coral reef bleaching. In healthcare, and Dr. Kahvejian has been at the forefront of many of these developments, artificial intelligence helps detect disease, identify cancer cells, and develop programmable medicines. And in the domain of aging, the Hasbro toy company produces an AI-powered robotics cats and dogs. Yes, cats and dogs. I'm not going to say anything else. Cats and dogs. That provide interactive companionship and joy for older folk, like myself. But like all transformative technologies, since the dawn of reading and writing and agriculture, AI can expand possibilities, but also unleash new threats. We see, for example, a flood of bogus AI-generated content that influences markets, damages reputations, roils politics, and sustains racist narratives. We see loan approval AI algorithms that show bias against minorities. And we see the privacy of consumer data compromise. These threats need to be addressed. Indeed, higher education must begin educating all for an artificial intelligence future that is first and foremost humane. We must focus on the humanistic gains that AI can facilitate, like nurturing justice, ethics, health equity, and the practice of democratic citizenship. And let's be clear, this is challenging when the AI conversation is driven by how it enhances the logic of the market or improves efficiencies. That's important, but that's only half of the algorithm. Our Paul English Applied Artificial Intelligence Institute will not only support the incorporation of artificial intelligence competencies into the curriculum and provide students with the applied AI skills they're going to need in today's and tomorrow's workforce. It would also critically address the ethical challenges associated with artificial intelligence. As we develop new academic and research programs around AI, we will ask, how can we use applied artificial intelligence as a tool for creating equitable opportunity in our communities? How can we use artificial intelligence as a powerful teaching and learning tool anchored in ethical considerations? Going forward, we want to lead in incentivizing artificial intelligence for the greater good. Our engagement with AI aims to ensure that a UMass Boston education cultivates the ability to apply artificial intelligence to improving the ways we live. Let me conclude this introduction with the following statement. It is true that we can use AI to mine the text of Shakespearean sonnets to determine their pattern and provenance. But can they pinpoint what Shakespeare was feeling and why when he wrote Sonnet 43? I quote, "All days are nights to see till I see thee, and nights bright days when dreams do show thee me." End of quote. Or when the great Antonio Machado wrote, "Caminante no hay camino, se hace camino al andar." Can AI explain the inspiration behind these sequences of words that have enthralled people around the world for centuries? Similarly, does AI have the intuitive, humane skills required to negotiate a diplomatic agreement or the creativity to generate a solution for improving test scores in public schools, or the ethical probity to call out public corruption and apply justly the laws? No, these are innately human endeavors. As Professor René Gosselin, the head of the Human First AI group at MIT's Initiative on the Digital Economy, put it last fall in our campus, AI, quote, "is not sentient or conscious. It does not think. Only you can do that." Embrace that idea that you must use AI in ways that are human first. End of quote. In the AI era, we must be our humanity. Our humanity must set us apart. AI can enhance our intelligence, but it can never know what it feels like to be inspired, to be moved. AI can never know what it feels like to have compassion or to experience that most of all humans feelings, true love. And AI can never know what it feels like to live with a conscience or aspire to be excellent. Thank you. On that happy note, thank you. It is my honor to introduce our convocation speaker, Dr. Avak Kahvejian, a serial entrepreneur and life sciences innovator. Avak has co-founded more than 10 companies. Since 2011, he has been a partner at Flagship Pioneering, where he heads a team that pioneers and launches new therapeutic platforms. In addition to his many entrepreneurial achievements, I will note that Avak also serves as chairman of the board of the International Institute of New England, an institution that creates opportunities for refugees and immigrants to succeed through resettlement, education, career advancement, pathways to citizenship, issues that I have devoted my entire professional life to researching. Please join me in giving a warm beacon welcome to Dr. Avak Kahvejian. Dr. Kahvejian.
Thank you so much, Marcelo. And good morning, UMass community. I'm delighted to join you in celebrating the start of an academic new year. When Marcelo extended this invitation, I was a bit intimidated. This is my first ever convocation address, but I also knew I had to say yes. As I'm sure you know, Marcelo is a force of nature. He has dedicated his career to ensuring that education is widely accessible, something I too care about deeply. He recognizes that education is one of the greatest equalizers and catalyzers to create a vibrant, prosperous, diverse, and healthy society. All of you here at UMass share this vision, and more than that, it's you who make it real. Students, faculty, administrators, friends, and supporters. This school embodies your hopes and dreams. Your work makes it possible. Let me start by congratulating and thanking every one of you. Like many of you and like Marcelo, I am an immigrant. And because of this, I especially appreciate all that UMass Boston does to ensure that students from all places and walks of life have a better chance to thrive and to reach their full potential. I was a baby when my Armenian family left the civil war in Lebanon for Canada. My family left everything behind except their education. Thanks to his engineering training, my father got back on his feet much faster than he otherwise would have. And years later, I would take advantage of the Canadian system to get an advanced degree in biochemistry, which ultimately fueled my journey to Boston, then becoming the epicenter of the biotech revolution. At UMass, you are making such lives possible for a new generation of students. I am proud to stand with you. But I also have another reason for being here today. We happen to be neighbors. Right now, we are just over a mile from Southline, a life sciences and innovation hub that is home to 3 biotechnology companies that I co-founded: A Biologics, Ampersand Biomedicines, and Profound Therapeutics. Southline is the former Boston Globe headquarters, which actually used to house their large printing presses. And Flagship was the first tenant, initially alone in this hulking shell of a building. Happily, that's changed with the arrival of Noble, the athletic wear company, and Portal, an early-stage venture capital incubator. And as an interesting aside, TB12 and Noble merged recently, so there's a chance one can catch a glimpse of Tom Brady when he visits his company. And here's another fun fact for you Beacons. The name of the Southline redeveloper is Beacon Capital Partners. Today I want to share some thoughts about neighbors and neighborhoods, why they are so important, and how we can help them thrive, unleashing new possibilities and building a better future. Strong neighborhoods are built on connection. Neighbors know each other. So in that spirit, let me briefly introduce to you the company I work for, Flagship Pioneering. As Marcelo mentioned, our mission is to transform healthcare and sustainability. And to that end, we have created, resourced, and founded more than 100 bioplatform companies. In other words, Flagship Pioneering is a company that creates companies. The most well-known is Moderna, which became something of a household name during the pandemic. Moderna generated a safe and effective COVID-19 vaccine at record speed, a feat only possible because its mRNA bioplatform, 10 years in the making, was already up and running. As a result, the company was able to generate the mRNA instructions to produce a coronavirus vaccine just 48 hours after receiving the DNA sequence for the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein. By some estimates, Moderna's vaccine saved more than 2 million lives during the pandemic. I hope some of you and your loved ones benefited from it firsthand. While scientific research and commercialization generally build incrementally on what's known, Flagship takes big leaps beyond such adjacencies. One of our axioms is, trust your crazy ideas. We start by asking, what if? But that isn't to say we mindlessly go off in whatever direction. We have a rigorous system to stress test our ideas, ruthlessly culling those that fail to fulfill their initial promise. This is reflected in the fact that we don't even name our early-stage projects. They only get numbers. That way, it's easier to change their mandate if they don't pan out. Since meeting Marcelo, I've come to see how much UMass and Flagship have in common. We share a commitment to inclusive excellence and big ideas. We know that progress happens when we work together, in ways both large and small. You know how neighbors share things with each other? A snowblower, a cup of sugar, that sort of thing, or team up to tackle small projects? That's what we're doing with UMass. As one example, UMass is collaborating with us at A Biologics, the newest of the 3 flagship companies operating out of Southline, sharing specialized equipment along with expertise. And to the students here today, now that Flagship's on your radar, perhaps some of you will come to work at Flagship or one of its companies, or in the larger neighborhood of Boston area life sciences and biotech. Speaking of which, I urge you to take full advantage of this amazing city. It can be hard to fully appreciate what's happening in Boston. On the surface, it can look just like a bunch of nondescript buildings, and the molecules we focus on are literally invisible. Yet throughout this remarkable community, breakthroughs are in the making. While they're not always something you can point to, like a rocket or an electric car, together they have the potential to transform the world. Fueled by advances in AI and machine learning, we are revolutionizing drug discovery and developing life-saving medicines. We are pioneering new approaches to both feed the world and heal the planet. Historically, drug discovery has been an artisanal trial and error process with low odds of success. Today, it can increasingly be thought of as an engineering problem, one where we can use computer design and then prototype and test biological materials in the real world at a scale and speed previously unimaginable. AI is enhancing our capacity to imagine. At Flagship, we often talk about AI not as artificial intelligence, but as augmented imagination. We once thought of it as science fiction, and it's now simply becoming science. The possibilities are endless, and it's all happening right here in your neighborhood. And to be clear, I'm not only speaking to the scientists among you, but to everyone here. The biotechnology industry is growing, and it is drawing from more and more disciplines with implications across society. So I've been talking about physical neighborhoods, the areas where we live and work, but they're not the only kind. Cultures, religions, communities of interest, these too are neighborhoods. The same is also true of academic fields. Here at UMass, you have many of these, from business to biology, smaller neighborhoods within the larger village or city. If you're anything like me, you likely feel most at home in one field or maybe two. But here's the thing. If we never leave our block, we miss out on opportunities just around the corner. This is not only bad for us, it's also bad for the world. From human health to climate change to global prosperity, the world's greatest challenge require us to work across disciplines. Now, it isn't always easy, something I know firsthand. A few years back, I decided to take a course in machine learning, which was already rapidly shifting our thinking around drug discovery and development. So in my so-called spare time, I probably have about as much of that as all of you, I signed up for a class on Coursera taught by a luminary in the field by the name of Andrew Ng. And that's how I found myself at 1 a.m., struggling to debug code like someone possessed. My wife thought that there was something wrong with me or that I was having a crisis at work. And this went on for 6 or 8 assignments over several months. I had no idea this course was going to make me write code and debug algorithms. It was a giant pain in the you-know-what. But you know something? If I hadn't taken that course, I don't think I would have co-founded Abiologics in 2021. The company creates novel synthetic proteins. We call them synteins, through computational design and chemical synthesis. These synteins promise to overcome many of the limitations of protein drugs, known as biologics. Biologics are expensive to make, and they're expensive to take. They generally need to be injected in a hospital or doctor's office. Virtually none can be taken orally. These are among the world's most important therapeutics, used to treat a range of cancers, Crohn's disease, rheumatoid arthritis, and other serious conditions. But today, due to their drawbacks, they are inaccessible to many people around the world. Now imagine if instead we designed and made a synthene that could simply be taken as a pill. That's one thing Abiologics stands to make possible through new computationally designed synthetic proteins with innovative functionalities and properties. So those frustrations and late nights I spent debugging code, I'd say they were well worth it. The other night, I was helping my daughter with her French homework and came across this quote from the 19th century poet and musician Gustave Nadeau. Rester, c'est exister, mais voyager, c'est vivre. When you stay in place, you exist, but when you travel, you live. In closing, I want to call on all of you to start this year by venturing beyond familiar neighborhoods. Introduce yourself to someone you don't know. See if you can learn something new from them. Explore what you have in common. Go to a lecture or take a class on a new topic, something that interests you, even if you don't know why. Plan a field trip to a place you've never been. Be open to surprise. Be open to new pathways. Now, I imagine some of you are thinking, sure, that sounds great, but who has time? The school year is ramping up. My plate is overflowing. Yes, it's a good idea, but it can wait. Believe me, I understand, but I don't agree. Breakthroughs arise from new experiences that drive new insights and connections. This is the way to creative thinking, the way to innovation. Even if it feels like you're wasting time, keep an open mind. Back in the early 2000s, in another country, at another university, I was completing my PhD in biochemistry and feeling a bit disillusioned, toiling away in the lab, struggling with a lack of purpose. My research focus was important, but quite obscure. Few people had much interest. The work I was doing, years later, it would pave the way for my being present at the birth of LS18, the 18th life sciences company to emerge from Flagship Pioneering. Today, it is known as Moderna. Turns out my graduate work in early mRNA research wasn't so meaningless after all. To the contrary, it involved what would become one of the most consequential biotechnologies of our lifetimes. Just like science, life is an endless exploration. Ask bold questions, experiment, explore your neighborhoods, travel to unfamiliar destinations. May this year be filled with discoveries and vibrant new connections. Thank you.
Endless exploration. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Avak, for your timely remark, for being here with us today as we celebrate the opening of the new academic year. Before I conclude this year's convocation ceremony, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the wonderful staff, the team, who worked so hard to make this day possible. Your efforts, your commitment, your ethic of care, and all you do for UMass Boston are very much appreciated. Muchas gracias. Now, please join me and members of the UMass Boston leadership team on the campus center plaza for an amazing barbecue luncheon. I will be manning one of the stations, so come over. They're hot, they're juicy, they're ready to go. I'm talking about veggie burgers, cheeseburgers, the works. Thank you all for being with us today.